Good, happy Sunday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast. Let's get started. First up, crews battle 100-acre brush fire in Albany for second day. Crews on the scene of a large brush fire in Albany, in which broke out on Saturday afternoon. Firefighters responded to the blaze around 4 p.m. The fire in Albany is located near the Kingamakis Highway and Albany Covered Bridge. Chief Steve Sherman of the Forest Protection Bureau said the fire is burning 100 acres of the White Mountain National Forest, and it's growing. At least 4 surrounding towns sent crews to help fight the fire. Sherman said the Forest Protection Bureau sent a crew to Georgia on Sunday to help with wildfires burning in the south. They were intending to send more, but crews are needed in New Hampshire as a result of the fire. He said the Bureau will be mobilizing a crew of 20 on Monday morning from New Hampshire and Maine to help fight the fire in Albany. There is no word on how the fire started. Sherman said statewide fire danger was moderate Sunday, but that it could increase to high later this week. He stressed that people should refrain from using wood stoves and disposing of wood stove ashes in dry conditions. Brush fires were also reported in Alton, Alstead, Belmont, Peterborough, and Sanbornton on Sunday. A building fire was also reported in Dunbarton. State Fire Marshal Director J. William Danga said the fires in Belmont and Sanbornton were started by lawn mowers. Trial set over dismissal of student by Phillips Exeter Academy. Phillips Exeter Academy, the prep school criticizing for how it's handled sexual assault cases, now faces trial on a lawsuit brought by a former student's mother who alleges the school wrongfully withdrew her 15-year-old son after he had sex with another student. The lawsuit alleges Phillips Exeter Academy first said the boy would be placed on leave, but could return this fall after seeking therapy among other conditions. The mother says Exeter changed its mind and decided to withdraw him altogether. As it was responding to reports, it mishandled sexual assault cases involving staff and students. Exeter says it made no contractual promise the boy would be allowed to return and say he violated the school's sexual misconduct policy. He hasn't been charged with a crime. The trial starts Monday. Trump names Rice Priebus as Chief of Staff, Steve Bannon as Senior Advisor. Let's take a listen to this video from ABC News.
It has been a weekend of intrigue and speculation as President-elect Donald Trump and his close advisors work to assemble a new administration.
We are told a decision is imminent on Chief of Staff, a position sometimes referred to as the second most powerful person in Washington. This choice may tell us a lot about how Trump, who ran as an outsider, will govern in Washington.
Now, overnight, another round of protests, some turning violent, but this was the fourth night in a row that we saw protesters, including a large demonstration in front of Trump Tower here in Manhattan.
Even as people hit the streets, though, a new ABC News Washington Post poll shows 74% of Americans call the election legitimate, although there is a vast partisan divide here, with only 58% of Clinton supporters saying Trump was legitimately elected.
George Stephanopoulos is standing by with analysis. What we want to do begin this morning with ABC's Mary Bruce, who's at the White House covering the transition. Mary, good morning to you.
Good morning. Well, the president-elect has spent the weekend locked away in Trump Tower, huddled with his transition team, now facing the daunting task of filling more than 4,000 federal jobs. But first, Donald Trump is expected to announce his top aide, that critical chief of staff position. That decision could come any day now.
We feel busier than ever.
Trump Tower's buzzing with activity, from top aides to unexpected guests.
They haven't stopped me yet.
And foreign leaders like Brexit champion Nigel Farage. Trump's team assembled Saturday as the president-elect nears a major decision. Who will be his chief of staff? The list of contenders includes two very different choices. Steve Bannon, the former head of Breitbart News, known for attacking the GOP establishment, and Reince Priebus, the chairman of the RNC. On election night, Trump praised Priebus.
But I'll tell you, Reince is really a star, and he is the hardest working guy.
I think Chairman Priebus has expressed an interest in the position. There are several people being considered, and it's Mr. Trump's decision ultimately.
But a top Trump ally is already warning that a Priebus pick could cause a rebellion in Trump's base. Trump promised during the campaign to shake things up in Washington.
Grain does swamp.
But his cabinet shortlist includes politicians and insiders like Newt Gingrich, Senator Jeff Sessions, and Rudy Giuliani. Trump tweeting we'll soon be making some very important decisions on the people who will be running our government. And don't expect that to change.
It's a great form of communication.
Trump telling 60 Minutes he's not going to give up his tweeting habit, but
I'm going to do very restrained. If I use it at all, I'm going to do very restrained. I find it tremendous. It's a modern form of communication.
Now, Trump has not been seen publicly since Thursday. That's expected to change in the coming days, possibly even to go on a victory tour. Paula?
All right, Mary, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that report. New Zealand, at least 2 dead in 7.8 magnitude quake. Let's take a listen to this video from CNN.
Powerful earthquake in New Zealand was deadly. The Prime Minister had this update a little while ago.
Sadly, on the best information we have, there have been 2 fatalities. At this point, we're unable to give you precise information of what caused those specific fatalities, but as soon as we have better information, obviously we'll come back to you. I want to thank everyone who's supported New Zealanders along the way. There's been a huge number of people here, for instance, in Wellington, that have been evacuated from hotels and the likes, and we've been putting those into the response centres. For instance, here in the Beehive, we've been confident about the facilities. It's important that people to continue to follow the messages that will be broadcast during the day.
The quake generated a small tsunami, but the overall tsunami warning has been downgraded. New Zealand's Civil Defence Ministry now says only the northeast coast of the South Island remains under threat. The 7.8 magnitude quake struck almost 100 kilometers northeast of Christchurch. That city was devastated by a much weaker quake 5 years ago that killed 185 people.
Okay, and that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday night. Good night, everyone. Bye.